Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, midweek. Man, the week is just flying by. This is another week of a lot of really good data, a lot of good information coming out, stuff that will impact us. Today's no different. Today I want to cover the 2023 FDIC National Survey of Unbanked and Underbanked households. And what an unbanked household is a household that doesn't have a traditional bank account. That's all it is, that they deal with cash and prepaid cash cards. They do deal with like Venmo and PayPal, but they're not in the banking system. And of course, people that don't have a bank account are at a huge disadvantage. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit. Underbanked households are people that have households that have a bank account but don't use it. So even though they have a bank account, they still use cash, prepaid cards, and payment apps to do their banking. We're going to talk about the reasons for that. Now, let's start with the good news. I'm going to go through what this means, what the good news is in the data, what the opportunity is, and that's what I really want to focus on. And then we'll see if we can't wrap this up. So here's the good news. The amount of people that are unbanked has fallen in half in about the last decade. And a little over the last 10 years, the amount of people that are unbanked, households are unbanked, has fallen in half. As a matter of fact, today, it's 4.2% of households in the United States are unbanked. Now, 4.2% doesn't sound like a lot, but it comes to 5.6 million households. So 5.6 million households are unbanked. Now, the reason why this improvement's happened, there's been a couple of reasons. The first one was in the Great Financial Crisis, and the second one was during the pandemic. And largely the reason why people had to, the people that weren't banked became banked is so that they could receive government transfer payments or tax credits, both during the Great Financial Recession and in the pandemic. A lot of ways, or the fastest way to get money if the government was giving you a credit or giving you assistance, was a direct deposit to your bank. A matter of fact, some of that was automated. And so people were, compelled to go open bank accounts, and that helped cut the unbanked number in half. So that's really, really good news. And that's probably why, while there's only 5.6 million unbanked households, there's nearly 20 million underbanked households. And the difference, at 15 million household delta, is people that open bank accounts simply to receive those payments, but still aren't participating in our banking system. All right, and so if you look at it, you think 20 million Americans, and these are 20 million Americans, these are citizens, right, are outside of the banking system, and so they can't participate. They aren't, they're not building credit. They can't participate in, basic deposits and withdrawals. They don't have an ATM card. They don't have a Visa card. They're all outside, and so they have to pay cash, which is harder to manage, which is at higher risk. Right, your money is far safer in a bank than under your mattress or in a coffee jar in your backyard, and they just have all these inconveniences, right? And so one of the things that I want to advocate for is how we can help those underserved people, and I'm gonna get to that. But first, let me give you some more statistics. What I'm gonna do first? I'm gonna show you. Here is the full study from the FDIC. You can I'll put this link in the notes below, but you can get to the executive summary. You can look at the full report, which is 101 pages. The executive summary, I think, is 25. You can look at the appendix tables, which is how they did their analysis, and you can actually get the survey. This survey revisions right here. This PDF copy is the questions of the survey if you're interested, and so you can get all your data here. It's totally free. What I prefer to do, what you might just prefer to do, is go to the press release. In the press release, it lists all the key data that you're going to want. I'm going to go through this data, that's stuff that's most important right now. But you can simply go to just Google FDIC press release, although I will give you a link to the overall study. So there you go. Those are the two pieces we're using. And by the way, one last thing I will show you. This is what the study looks like right here. As you can see, it's 108 pages. It's a very rich study. We're not going to go through 108 pages, but you get the gist. It has lots of Lots of data, lots of charts. Not the most thrilling, but if you want it, you can definitely get it. So here's some of the statistics that jumped out at me. I already shared the 4.2% households, or 5.6 million people, are unbanked. I also shared the underbanked totals. Now, 2/3 of people that are unbanked, 2/3 strictly only use cash. 1/3 uses prepaid debit cards, prepaid credit cards, and payment apps. That's how it breaks down. Now, why we say the number has improved, and it's improved across all classes, but it's important to note that while the unbanked is only 4.2%, it's not uniform in that certain demographics are affected more than others. So low income, minorities, disabled, single mothers all have significantly high percentages, around 10-11% of being unbanked, and of course have much higher percentages of being underbanked. So why we say it's 5.6 million households are unbanked, but a larger proportion of those are really underserved segments of our society. And so that's why it's another reason why this is important to pay attention to. That's that. Going through some other data. So it's 14%, or 19 million houses, are underbanked. Here's an interesting thing. For the first time, nearly half of banked households use mobile banking as their primary method to access their accounts. So half of people today in the United States that have a bank account primarily use mobile access to manage their account, which is a good thing. The next number is 76.4% of all households had a credit card in 2023. However, 15%, 1 in 6, had no access to mainstream credit. Can you believe that? That's 16% of Americans do not have credit of any sort. All right, so we have somewhere between 5 million to 20 million, households don't have a bank account, or have a bank account and don't use banking. And there's an overlap of this subset. Another 15% of Americans don't have credit or access to credit. A couple other statistics that I'm going to get to wrap this up. Interestingly, only 3.9% of U.S. households did a buy now pay later plan. Because you read about it in the news, and it seems like it's everywhere. It's proliferating all over the place. It's at Walmart. It's at furniture stores. It's everywhere. But in truth, only 3.9% of U.S. households did a buy now, pay later plan. Now, we expect that to grow. And just so you guys know where this data came from, the FDIC does a biannual survey where they survey 30,000 households. So 30,000 households to come up with this data. It's a meaningful study. It's going to be fairly accurate. The other data point, and my last data point that I think I really want to share, is 4.8% of U.S. households either owned crypto or used digital assets. So 4.8%. So that's kind of where banking is. That is the banking survey from FDIC. Here's the part I want to take away for us in the lending industry. I think places like First Home IQ, Dave Savage, Kristen, they have done a great job, in the crusade of trying to get us, the lending industry, to realize that we're on the front line of the financial literacy crisis in America. And that crisis is that a lot of Americans just simply don't understand basic finances, basic financial terms, basic options. They don't understand things like compound interest. They don't understand all sorts of things. Some people don't know how to write a check. I mean, the financial literacy crisis is real. And so places like First Home IQ have been leading, the charge to help get the mortgage industry to help lean into solving the crisis. Now, a lot of times when we think about that as in helping people get a home. And it certainly is one of the steps to getting a home, is teaching financial literacy, educating our clients. But in this case, this is before that. Like, we need to reach out to these people before they're looking for a home. We need to get them into the banking system now. We need to get them into credit now. Get the build their credit score now. And as they step into the banking industry, as they step into credit in the United States, from there, the next step is towards home ownership. Right now, so we need to be a little bit of a long play here, and we need to be a little bit selfless in this, and that we need to play a role in this financial literacy, and we need to play a role whether we're going to get a deal today or not. And I know everyone listening to this feels that way. I know that all of us have the passion to raise our communities up, especially to raise our underserved communities, to help them have the benefits of everyone in our country, right? And so as we go out there and as we are pushing our financial literacy, certainly for the people we help, we got to push it for people we may or may not help in the long term. We need to have financial literacy seminars. We need to invite everyone to them, not just people looking for homes. We need to convince them on why it's important to have a bank account, why it's important to have credit, why it's important to create a credit score, all those things which are way pre-need, but still I think serve what our core is, which is to help Americans achieve the American dream. And the American dream doesn't just have to be about home ownership, although home ownership is the fastest path to wealth in the United States, and so that's what we specialize in. But I would encourage each of you to think about how you might be able to close the gap with unbanking, underbanking, lack of credit, all those type of topics. And so check out this FDIC report. If you can't check it out, I really, and I'll put a link in my notes below, but I really encourage you to, whether you normally do it or not, check out my LinkedIn post today on this topic. I give the most critical data points, and I also do my best to try to encourage mortgage professionals to lean into this financial literacy crisis. And in it, I give I definitely give kudos to First Home IQ, who's doing a fantastic job. If you guys haven't checked it out, First Home IQ is such a benefit to loan officers. It's a benefit to generate business. Two, they have great collateral material. They have great presentation material. So if you don't know what to go talk about doing first-time home buyer seminars or doing home buying seminars or doing lunch and learns, join their program, get their content, and just use it. It's turnkey. It's 100% turnkey. And then the third thing is we get to do good when we partner with them and we follow their platform. We can do good for our community. So check out First Home IQ. If you go to my LinkedIn, I did links to them on my post on this topic. I hope you got something out of this. I hope you enjoyed it. I appreciate you checking it out. I appreciate you listening.